I wouldn't say I was a big Star Wars fan. That might be a lie. It's difficult to say what quantifies a Star Wars fan, or a fan in general. Does, for example, owning the Star Wars Trilogy Special Edition on VHS, admittedly I bought them for a few quid, constitute a fan? Maybe it does. I've owned these before, and I know I've owned these before because I used to have a VHS player and I remember these coming out and I remember buying them. I also own the films on DVD, Blu-ray and UHD disc. I used to have the original trilogy on VCD, but I appear to have got rid of those, which I now regret. But does that make me a fan? I have books. I have things like this is Star Wars, Heir to the Empire, Timothy Zahn. This is the second copy of this I've owned. I've got a number of Star Wars books and a number of them are second copies that I've owned because I went through a phase of getting rid of books. And I got rid of a lot of these because I thought, oh, I've read them or haven't read them, so I should just donate them to charity shops, and I did. For all I know, this is my copy that's just come back to me. I have read this since buying it. I have a number of the stories, including these, on audio. Not these. I don't have these on audio cassette. I have definitely have Jedi Academy on audio set, like the trilogy of books by Kevin J. Anderson. As you know, if you've watched these videos before, I have comic books, well, graphic novels / trade paperbacks behind me, and I have Star Wars ones of those too. I have things like Star Wars Dark Empire, which I remember reading when it came out. This is the second copy of this I've owned because back in today, when I was moving house once, I decided I didn't want to collect comic books anymore, so I got rid of them all. This was part of an eBay job lot. I don't just have old stuff like Dark Empire. I'm assuming it's old. I can't tell you when I read it. I have things like, I have various volumes of Dark Horses. In fact, that's Dark Horse as well. Also Dark Horse. Star Wars Clone Wars. I have various volumes of this again, and these probably came in the same job lot, probably can't really tell you. I have various volumes of Star Wars Tales as well, again Dark Horse Comics. I have, rounding out the comic book thing, 2 volumes of Darth Vader, the Star Wars Darth Vader series from Marvel Comics, by which I assume are quite recent. Can't tell you if that makes me a fan, probably does. But that got me onto something that I want to discuss in this video today, and it is this. It's an iPad. No, I'm kidding. That would be quite a tangent, wouldn't it? This is Vader, Mind's Eye, created by Lucas Steele, who I will, for the sake of transparency, on this channel of nothing but transparency, say is a friend of mine. And a massive Star Wars fan. Seriously, if you look up his YouTube channel, link in the description. Oh, now I have to watch the video to put the link in the description. Link in the description. You'll see that he does a lot of Star Wars stuff. He's also on TikTok, which is probably easier to find him. It's Standout Steel on TikTok. He covers lots and lots of Star Wars, from his Star Wars room to his opinion to his reaction to other people's opinion. He also does a podcast every so often, which isn't the podcast I thought he was going to do, incidentally. I thought he was going to do a Star Trek and Star Wars one with another friend of mine, and it was, in my mind, the Star Trek and Star Wars podcast was going to be called Star Shipping, which I think is a great name for the podcast that never was. But there you go. So yes, this is his a comic book that Lucas has written and drawn himself, and he taught himself to draw. He taught himself to draw in order to do this. Now, I can't draw. I can't paint. I would like to be able to paint. And a friend of mine, not Lucas, said, just do it for yourself. So I do. I occasionally, I like acrylic paint. Occasionally I take it to a bit of canvas. I'll do some random thing with the canvas, and that'll be it for absolutely ages. But so to actually commit yourself to learn something, create something with, you know, with an end goal in mind, that's quite something to me. That makes me think, wow, you know, perhaps I should try harder, because it's a conversation for another time, but I do feel occasionally that I've not applied myself. But that is a conversation for another time, and we won't get into that here. What we're going to do is we're going to get into the Vader Mind's Eye, which is out for free in print and digital on December the 1st, I believe. I should have taken notes for this, but as we know, I just waffle. So we're going to read this. It's 16 pages, and I will give you my opinion of it as a possibly not Star Wars fan. Here's a crossfade, possibly. And then when I come back, I'll tell you what I think. And we're back. Okay, to fill in a couple of things, because I've read it and it tells me at the end that his TikTok and YouTube are both Standout Steel and the HollowNet podcast. So there you go, no excuses. Give them a follow, give them a like, subscribe, all that type of thing. And while you're doing that, do the same to this. Beginning to think most of you aren't subscribed, which is something other YouTubers bigger than me talk about. So what did I think? I really enjoyed it. What I like about it is across 16 pages, it fills in some of that scene in The Empire Strikes Back where Vader is in his chair just before he takes his mask off. He's in his chair and he appears to be just sitting there. But what this does is it provides Vader with a narrative for that moment. It tells us what he's thinking based on stuff he has experienced from being a child in episode 1 through to the death of all the Jedi, the corruption of him to the dark side, the death of Amidala. If I'm getting any of these names wrong, I apologise. I've told you, I may not be a fan. And it gives the character a darkness. In this case, the thing that comes through is that Vader wants to be the best Jedi. He wants to, as he says, he wants to be so powerful that he can stop death. Sounds like a pretty good thing, to be honest. Economics aside, seems like a pretty good thing, to be honest. And understanding what's got him to this stage is what that story does in reality, very few pages. I would have loved to have seen more, but it's a great project as a starting project. The art is pretty decent, to be honest. I couldn't do anything like that, and I've seen worse art in comics published by some of the big publishers. It is well worth reading, is what I'm saying. It's an interesting story. I like background stories where there's a need for background stories. I don't believe in background stories just to have a prequel. I don't particularly enjoy background stories where it changes the essence of a character to fit the time, to fit a particular time. Darth Vader's an entirely different entity in the throughout the films. If you look at Darth Vader in A New Hope compared to the later films by George Lucas, you see an evolution of that character. You understand why he behaves the way that he does. The prequels especially fill in the backstory because it's the prequels. But it does it in such a way that you can't help but see, actually, this is a child who grew up. This is a damaged child who grew up to be a damaged man. And like I say, what I liked about that story, what I liked about Mind's Eye was it gave us a look into it. It crystallised all that we know of Darth Vader, having watched the films, into an easy to digest package that leads us to the next stage. I would love to see more. Genuinely, I would love to see more. I would love to see takes on different moments that have got unspoken stories to tell. So I'm hoping that we do see something in the future. It is free. Like I say, it's free as a print copy if you get hold of Standout Steel. It'll be on, I believe he's releasing it on TikTok. Anyway, on that topic, like, share and subscribe and all that malarkey. Definitely subscribe to Standout Steel's Gubbins, and I shall go back to reading Star Wars The Complete Vader, which isn't The Complete Vader because this was written before he reappeared recently. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, read Darth Vader Mind's Eye, and that's it really. Bye for now.